This is the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Due to COVID-19, this meeting is conducted under Waupaca County Resolution Number A, 2020-2021, and Governor Evers Emergency Order Number 1. The meeting will be broadcast with remote access on a live stream on YouTube. So we'll call this meeting to order today. Roll call.
Vasquez.
Here.
Boyer.
Here.
Craig, Mary.
Here.
Craig, Patricia.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Fedowitz.
Here.
Golding.
Here.
Hardy.
Here.
Yeager.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Keppen.
Here.
Kussman.
Here.
Lear.
Here.
McClone.
Here.
Morak.
Here.
Muck.
Here.
Murphy, Gerald.
Here.
Murphy, Terry. Nygaard.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Pullman. Here. Ritchie.
Here.
Rowan.
Here.
Spearing.
Here.
Wengelski.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Zog.
Here.
26 members are present, sir.
Thank you. As is always, this meeting and all other meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so the citizenry may be aware of time, place, and the agenda of this meeting. Let's please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands under
Nation.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'd like to approve today's agenda. So motion by Mr. Zog for approval, and a second by Mr. Moore. Any questions regarding the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approved. Next, we'd like to approve the minutes. Motion by Supervisor Lair and a second by Supervisor Gerald Murphy. Any questions regarding the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion is carried, and the minutes are approved. What'd you do?
Regular.
Resolution number 38. It's a donation acceptance to DHHS.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the Anthony Family Foundation Waupaca County Nutrition Program donation in the amount of $5,000.
Motion by Supervisor Lair and a second by Supervisor Nygaard. Any questions regarding that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried and accepted. Resolution number 42 is a donation acceptance for the Sheriff's Department.
Sorry, I got to get it up on screen. It's not working with me right now. Or I'm not working on it very well. Oh, it's sharing. Okay, now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the $1,000 from Trinity Lutheran Church, $1,449.67 from the Waupaca Police Department Handcuff Hunger, and $1,000 from Coppersmith Foods Incorporated for the purpose of supporting the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit.
Craig moves to approve.
Motion by Supervisor Craig and a second by Supervisor Johnson. Any questions or discussion on those? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried and that donation is accepted. Resolution number 43, 2021, the authorization of self-insurance for workman's compensation.
Now therefore be it resolved, the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors, one, provides for the continuation of a self-insured workers' compensation program that is currently in effect, which will include their agreement to report faithfully all the compensable injuries and agree to comply with the applicable Wisconsin stats and the rules of the department. Two, authorizes the Human Resource Director to forward certificate copies of this resolution to the Workers' Compensation Division, Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development.
There is a motion by Supervisor Lair and a second by Supervisor Zog. Any questions? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion. Ordinances. Morning, Terry. How are you? Good, how are you? Ordinances. Number A, amend chapter 7 traffic code 7.14 D, Prince 1.
So it was a part of your packet for the change in the ordinance number 7. The copy is on the screen with the change from all ATV, UTV operations to routes. And then the addition is that all portions of the roadway shall observe and comply posted roadway speed limits, and striking at the time shall, at no time shall exceed the 35 miles per hour. This is in conjunction with state law. It's following what the state statute is, which was also in the packet, which I'm sorry, I'm making you sick, but that is part of Act 183, which Diane has provided and circled there for you.
Excuse me. There's a motion by Supervisor Vasquez and a second by Supervisor Muck. Any questions? Yes. Bernie?
I had, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This removal of the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, this is now going to be allowed to be on state highways also, as I read in here. So with that, we're going to have ATVs out on Highway 10, or are we going to be imposing restrictions on certain highways right away? Does the state impose any restrictions on any?
Yes. Do we have a? Oh,
That's a really good question, and Jason, if you want to chime in at any time, feel free. But so our ATV ordinance is applicable to the county trunk highway system, so not state highway.
I thought I read in here that it was all a full blanket coverage of all bridges, state roads, and county roads.
So that would be exclusive of the state highway system.
I guess I read it wrong.
Yeah, so the ordinance is effective to the county trunk highway system. And if the towns have also ATV routes within their towns, then that's up to their jurisdiction. But we've given blanket permission for ATVs to travel on the county trunk highway system. And that's what this ordinance applies to. Yeah, and it's the posted, initially when we passed the ordinance, it was unclear if the posted motor vehicle speed limit applied also to ATV, UTV. And now it's clear with this passage of this act in 2020 that the posted motor vehicle speed limit also applies to ATV.
Okay. Under altering vehicle UTV, under intent, paragraph A, it states on paragraph 3 that highways or state highways and local within the municipality.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not concerned with state highways, so maybe Casey has more information on that.
All right, good morning. So the only time you can run a ATV down a state highway right now is if you're in 35-mile-an-hour speed zone or less, and then you also have to have permission from the municipality that routes that as a trail, just like we do on our county system. So you cannot run ATVs down US Highway 10. The only area where I've seen a trail or a club or an organization has asked to use the ATVs on a state highway, since I've been here, is through the city of Marion. There's a section coming south out of the city of Marion where it's posted 40 miles an hour. The sheriff, the city of Marion Police Chief Kevin Schultz and their trail club requested from the Wisconsin DOT to use the highway in that section for an ATV, UTV club. And the state said, what's the posted speed limit? It was 40 miles an hour, and the state said, no, we're not even going to allow you to run up and down state highways if it's 40 miles an hour. So you may have to reduce your speed limit down to 35, then we'll consider it. But right now, the only time you can use ATVs on a state highway is to cross them on a marked trail, but not to go up and down them in Waupaca County. No, it's not true. They have another separate rule that says you cannot use the state system for traveling up and down state highways. So if you see someone, it's essentially illegal unless it's used for agricultural purposes. And I believe like the sheriff's department may have permission to use it if they're occupying or chasing someone that isn't supposed to be out there. So that's my understanding.
I just see it written on here.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's going to be some legality in the future because of that being written into this document. Someone is arrested or whatever as an issue that we have it written into this and we approve it.
Yeah.
Which document, are you referring to this document, or the one that's on the screen
Under
here?
intent?
For this one here?
No, that's
Okay.
under.
I just want to get to the right place.
To 714, altering vehicle UTV under section 8 under intent, the paragraph 3. So it's right there at the bottom of that article.
Yeah, that's what Casey's talking about, the state highway. They would still have to follow the state rules with the state highway ATVs.
Which I've seen a few examples in Fremont and Marion where trail clubs have asked permission to utilize the state highway, and the state said, no, you're not doing it. Unless it's 35 miles an hour, and then the city of Marion, for instance, asks to drop the speed limit coming south out of Marion from 40 to 35, and the state said, no, we're not dropping the speed limit, so therefore they over control it in a sense for the means of safety, I'm assuming.
I guess I have one more question, and I don't care if we answer this one here. Do we feel that ATVs are going to be, I mean, UTVs, you're sitting down in a compartment where you have a steering wheel in front of you, and you have mirrors, and you have the directionals and things of that nature on there. Now you're on top of an ATV, and if anybody's ridden one, you get a stick or something like that, it jars your handlebars. If you hit a pothole in the road and someone's doing 40, 50 miles an hour, is this going to be a safe atmosphere for somebody to be driving on or at that speed, 50, 55 miles an hour?
And that got brought up, and I know that the sheriff's department, Sergeant Goody, deals with this question a lot. He then starts comparing motorbikes and motorcycles, and yes, it's more dangerous than a UTV. That's why they upgraded them to roll cages and seatbelts, but they didn't want to exclude the ATV separate from the UTV because the majority of your farmers, not the majority, a lot of your farmers have ATVs and they use them for agricultural use, so they don't want Bernie Ritchie, who owns the ATV, to point at Casey Byersdorf going by in a UTV and say, why can he go down the road and I can't? So they just said, we'll keep them conglomerated together so they're not trying to pick apart which one's more safer.
Well, and then we have that with the age limit. A UTV, you can operate that at 14, and a UTV, you have to be 16. So we have that discrimination there already, where there's a more dangerous vehicle to operate, and then we have a younger, more unexperienced operator behind the controls of it, driving down the road at 55 miles an hour. And I just find it's a safety concern,
Yeah.
and I guess at that I'll leave it.
Supervisor Craig.
I have a question for Casey too. In our township, we wondered why. I understand why, but I'd like you to say it so that everybody on the Zoom can hear it too. if the county is allowing their highways to be used, why isn't the county responsible for their section of the signage so that we don't have to include all of that as part of our signage?
So you're asking why doesn't the highway department individually pick certain municipalities to maintain? I would say that right now, the town or that club within that municipality, so in Royalton, for instance, the majority of these towns are hiring our highway department to put up their signs on our county trunk system so that Royalton doesn't ask if Harrison or DuPont is doing something different on their county system. So our highway department is actively engaging in doing a lot of the signing on our county trunk system to keep the uniformity, so the signs look the same and such. But we're not just going to take that out of my budget because I received no state funding or anything for maintaining ATV, UTV signs on our county system. All that funding comes from the trail club groups and such to pay for that. And so I meant to maintain our county trunk system for transportation or vehicle related incidents, not necessarily ATVs, which then could get roped into why aren't we doing it for snowmobile clubs? And before you know it, we're kind of working outside of our purpose or our scope of what we're funded to maintain.
I understand that, but their thought was, while the signs may be provided, the town still has to pay for the labor of course, to put them in.
If the town chooses to, that's not necessarily true in some towns. Some towns say, no, we're not doing this. We want that club or that organization to pay for it all.
Okay,
And the town just gives permissions for that club to operate within their borders.
thank you. I appreciate that. Royalton does.
Any other questions for Casey? Yes.
So it was 35 miles an hour. So you're saying like a county index, they can do 55 or is it still 35 on a county?
So on County Highway A in the town of Lynn, if the town of Lynn, which they do have ATV and say everything's posted, they travel the same speed limit as the car speed limit now. And if a town wants to take their own roads and post them and restrict them tighter and say, no, we're not going with what the county wants to do, they have the right to reduce the speed limit on their town roads. Majority of the four-wheelers that I've seen, which I haven't seen a lot and I'm out and about all the time, they're going 40, 45 miles an hour and keeping up pretty good with traffic. The only weird things that I'm seeing is that their signal lights typically is more or less an arm coming out versus putting on a blinker. Not seeing a lot of issues at this point.
So they don't have to do 55, but they can do 55.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's, I think Carl is here too. I think it doesn't get rid of the law enforcement premise that you have to control your vehicle safely. So to Supervisor Ritchie's point of, if there's potholes, you should slow down. Otherwise, you might be cited for traveling safely on a highway, or on the roadway. So there's still that, driver conscientious requirement to not do anything that's reckless or would endanger other people. And Carl, say no if I'm stating that incorrectly.
No, that's correct.
Thank you. So you're right. The posted speed limit now is the ceiling, is the cap at the limit, but nothing requires you to travel the posted speed limit. You still have to safely operate your vehicle. If it's nighttime, if it's raining, you're going to have to reduce your speed to do safe operations. But previously, there wasn't this cap, so we decided to cap it at 35 for the reasons that have been stated before, which is we want to keep our people as safe as possible, everyone traveling on the highways, and we thought 35 was a reasonable speed limit to keep people safely traveling on the road. But now the state has enacted this legislation, so we do not have that discretion anymore. We have to do what the state law says. And towns have home rules, so they can, like Casey said, cities, villages, and towns can play with the speed limit within their municipal jurisdictions, while counties can't.
Answer your question, Supervisor Harvey?
Yes,
Thank you.
One more question if I could, Diane. Now that they're gonna be following the speed limits and everything, is there any requirement as far as the insurance? Like if you're driving a vehicle down the road, you need $100,000 worth of liability insurance, is there anything like that on four-wheelers at all?
So, true, ATV, UTV is not my favorite topic, so I haven't spent a lot of time researching, the insurance requirements. So I can find that question for you, but I just don't know off the top of my head. So if Carl or anybody else knows who travels with ATVs and UTVs, I'd be happy to.
That's the biggest subject at towns meetings is the insurance and everything else, because they're looking at motorcycles and bikes, they have the same liability. But that is one of the topics that they bring up is about their insurance. Every township brings that same thing up, and I can't really say, it's all contoured to the jurisdiction or, the township on that part.
Yeah, so you maybe, if you're concerned about that, and you may want to contact your representative to see if they're considering enacting legislation.
Yeah.
Statewide ordinance,
Just have it call.
similar to what they do with cars and other vehicles.
Anyone else? Mr. Bredowitz?
Just from a positive standpoint, I can only speak for the town of Matson. I know there was a lot of controversy when we talked about this a couple of years ago, but I hardly see any of them out there. People are saying, well, they're going to be overrun with that, but that hasn't happened. If everybody minds their P's and Q's, it's working fine.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Murphy.
In light of what Supervisor Federer says, we in the town of Farmington enacted an ordinance for allowing ATVs on town roads. And just as you pointed out, Supervisor Federer, there was a clog of people that were sure that we'd be inundated with ATVs. We hardly ever see any. They wanted it, but it's not being used. So I don't think that wherever in the county, I'd be surprised if it became a problem of numbers. So.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Spears.
City of Waupaca has had open four-wheeler driving on our streets for years already. We have basically zero problem with it. Zero. We have no problem whatsoever.
Thank
For
you.
a lot of years already.
Okay, we're ready to vote. We have a motion to approve ordinance or amend chapter 7 traffic code.
We have a motion by Vasquez and a second by Mock.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
I heard one opposed, two opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you tell us who opposed it?
Opposed by Supervisor Ritchie and Supervisor Yeager.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to reports, I believe.
Oh, we have one more amendment, chapter 34.
Oh,
Slipping one more in there for you. Sorry.
2020, that's 720, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-001-21, town of Scandinavia. Duncan Campbell and Al for a zoning map amendment from SR district to an RR district, approximately 0.5 acres.
So what Mr. Campbell's looking at doing is he wants to put a RV on this property, and in order to be able to do that, he needs a conditional use. But that conditional use is only available in the rural residential district. And so that's why it's required to do the zone map amendment from the sewer residential district to rural residential.
Your motion for approval, Mr. Dawes, is that approval? Thank you. A second by Mr. Nygaard, yes. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Now we can go down to UW extension impact by Penny Tank.
Morning.
Good morning, Penny.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. It's great to see everybody. I had just wanted to take a few minutes. We do an extension impact report 3 times a year, and I just wanted to highlight some of the things that our office has been continuing to work on during 2020 and the last part of 2020 in this report. I work with the Waupaca County 4-H program, and so the article that I provided, we have been working on a lot of virtual programming, like many others, and one of the things that we did was offered project boxes so that families could continue their 4-H learning and 4-H participation at home. And we sold, they're just selling them for the cost. It's not a profit thing for 4-H or extension, just to cover the materials. And we did sell 104 boxes in December, and we had woodworking kits as well as a book where we focused on literacy for the younger members, and just trying to do a variety of things like that, and to continue the 4-H way of the learning by doing and having some of that available. Sandy, our human development and relationships educator, on page 2 of our report, talks about virtual parenting programs that she has been doing. And then on page 3, our FoodWise program really worked a lot with the Waupaca Farmers Market and helping them continue to provide the opportunity that they do for the farmers market. And there is a note in there that they were, the Waupaca Farmers Market was commended for the work that they did due to COVID last summer, and being able to still provide the market and increase those opportunities. And then also the bottom of that page, our FoodWise educator, Christy is our FoodWise program coordinator, and Haley is our FoodWise nutrition educator. And she talks about the relationships that they have with the food pantries, and especially Waupaca right now, but they also have been working with other pantries around the county. And then lastly, Jessica, who is our community development educator on the back page of our report, talks about a partnership that she's been working with transportation gaps within the county and trying to move some of that work forward. And so I just, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I just wanted to highlight those couple things that we've chosen to highlight, and that we continue to do our work both virtually in the community, with the youth, with families and parents. So we appreciate the support from the county board.
Penny, that PDF, can I print that off my computer if you send it to me, or maybe I can get it right?
You can,
off
and
the
I do
website?
have some copies that I did bring with me.
Okay.
So I could maybe leave those on the corner of a table or something. I'm not sure the best way to do that, but I do have some printed copies with me.
I'm going to take one. I'm going to read it tomorrow. I'd like to make mention of the report. So,
Okay, great. Thank you.
any questions for Penny? Yes, thank you, Penny.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we got the 2020 County Veteran Service Officer Annual Report. Mr. Kopp is here this morning.
Went on the slide deck, right?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Perfect slide deck is great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to mention, you've been doing just fantastic.
And I
You're running the
struggled with
bus
that
up there, so
report.
to speak, and it's been going very well.
Thank you, Jess.
A lot of moving parts, so thank you for that. And thank you, Mr. Chair and County Board. Thank you so much for allowing me to bring to you the calendar year 2020 Waupaca County Veteran Service Office formal report, which satisfies our statutory requirement to report out on the business of our office. Please note the presentation. You've received the slide deck. You've also received our actual report. Much of this actually will go into today's submission for the state Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs grant to approve the services of our office. So this is a very important aspect of what we do. Happy to entertain any questions that you have, but I'll zip through a few slides and give you a little bit of information on what we're doing here. Pictures speak louder than words. What do we do? The bottom line is basically we connect veterans with benefits and services. We've been blessed to do that, thankfully, since 1934. So we've been working with veterans for a long time, not me personally, but so bottom line up front, what does that mean? You, the county board, have deemed that our allocation to support the veterans through the work we do in our office, your investment in veterans is bigger than the dollar amount, but I'd like to just give you an idea of what we spend on that. And the totality of our operation is about $250,000 is the investment. And hopefully the next logical question is, what's the return on that investment? And thankfully, we have an answer for that. Economist Professor Stephen Deller out of UW-Madison is nice enough to look over the numbers for us and give us an estimate of what the local impact is. Now, it's not a line item that that we can put in our budget and that we can spend from. Rather, it's kind of the idea that this is the return back to the county coffers through many things, taxes, including sales tax and property tax, purchases within the community. So new money coming into the community. It's not like building a gas station and the money just circulates there. It's like tourism. It brings money into the community and it raises all of those different aspects. So what is that number? It's just over $2 million about every year. So that's a pretty good return on investment. 250 in, 2 million back. So we're happy to be doing that. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you a little bit about the wonderful staff that we have up in the Veterans Service Office, and that's Cindy Roloff and Craig Hockenstad. And they've been doing this for many years now. Craig's relatively new, but Cindy's been doing this for many years, and the veteran community seems to be very pleased with her services. Some quick facts that we have for you. If we could just
back one.
Right, if we just back up one slide.
Sure.
Right there, perfect. Thank you so much. So again, that's just a rundown. A lot of times people ask, well, let me get my arms around the veteran situation in Waupaca County. What are we talking about? And that's easier said than done. But if we listen to the federal VA, which I'm not saying, there's no reason we should not listen to the federal VA on this, but their population estimates have Waupaca County veterans just over 4,000. Now, the story not told in that number is the number of dependents that we serve as well. That'd be spouses and children of veterans who are eligible to obtain benefits, including education benefits, CHAMP VA, which is health insurance, and the different programs through nonprofit or local organizations. You might have seen something come around from Fox Valley Tech. There's an innovation and entrepreneurship program that Fox Valley Tech is running, and of course, we would help by getting the word out about that and help with warm handoff to that program. It's also a part of what we do. Many programs like that, of course. And again, just a rundown on what in federal fiscal year, of course, the VA reports out their numbers in fiscal year. So we give you federal fiscal year 19 and calendar year 20 information in this report. So in FY19, the total federal benefit package, including from soup to nuts, from nose to tail, $48.7 million into Waupaca County for everything from healthcare to education to transportation to compensation and pension and everything in between. So very, very generous benefit package from the federal side of things. And we're a big part of helping our veterans receive and maintain those benefits. So as you can see, receiving those benefits and maintaining a healthy veteran population is critical to the overall health of Waupaca County and the broader conversation of the state as a whole, because each county, thankfully, the state of Wisconsin is very forward thinking here. Not every state has the CVSO model, which I would argue is the finest model for veteran benefit delivery that we have today. And I'm a small government guy, I'm a conservative guy, and I've noodled my brain. I'm trying to work myself out of a job, but doggone it, it's hard to work myself out of the job. So if the moment I find a better way, I'll let you know. The next slide that we have, of course, you've seen this video before. I won't ask you to watch it with me again today, but this is a great promotional video. It's a short video that the Association for the State of Wisconsin County Veterans Service Office Association put out, promoting some of the benefits and services of the CVSO model and encouraging veterans to go see their CVSOs. And this can be seen on our YouTube channel. 2020, we did start up a YouTube channel, and we have some content out there. We'll be sharing one video with you shortly. The next gives you a little bit of a taste of our office activity. Now, of course, some operational notes. We do track productivity metrics. Of course, 2020 was an unprecedented operating environment, probably the most challenging environment to date that I've ever, probably in recorded memory, not necessarily recorded history, but in remembered history. This is probably the most challenging year that anyone in the public or private sector has had to deal with. So what did it mean for the Veterans Service Office? Overall, we were down over 30% in our average daily office visits. Now that was largely due to the prohibition of that brief lockdown that we had from March to April. We were not taking any in-office visits, and the community at large was very cautious with responding to the COVID-19 global pandemic. However, it should be noted that our average daily contact with veterans overall, absent the daily office visits, was up 2%. So what is the tail of the tape here? So the way I read those numbers, and you can read statistics however you'd like, but up 2%, meaning we were constantly staying in very close contact with our veteran community. We were doing it in new and innovative ways: email, phone, mail, fax. All of the electronic means at our fingertips, we were able to maintain good contact with our veteran community. Social media played a big part in connecting to, maintaining contact with the veteran community. We do have a growing Facebook page. Like I said, we do have a YouTube page, and we are getting the information out to the veteran community. People have said to me too, just a note on the Facebook side of things. Jesse, why are you so interested in getting on the Facebook side of things? The veteran community tends older in Waupaca County. They're not online. They tell me. This is other CBSOs. This is people in the community. And I have a really good answer to that. It's the family members. It's the family members. The veterans themselves may not be willing or ready or able to look into the social media side of things, but daughter, son, nephew, niece, mom, dad, they're on social media. They're keeping an eye on things. They're out there. They're hungry for information to help their loved one. And we are connecting through that secondary market, which is the dependents and the loved ones of the veterans. And our numbers show that. You know, we have a pretty robust following on social media, and folks do reach out to us by that. And they learn about Waupaca County and Waupaca County Veterans Service Office through our social media footprint. So we're proud of that. We look to continue to do that. If we go to the, thank you, reading my mind today. I love it. This information kind of details, this is kind of the big money ticket when it comes to the statutory requirement to report out our grant program in particular. 5 approved, 2 denied, for a total of $3,350 in assistance this year. Now, that's down. We allocate $6,000 a year to this program in order to meet the emergent needs and stabilization needs of veterans who may be in or entering crisis. So a big part of that is housing assistance, and a breakdown of our 5-year expenditure history, and a tighter breakdown of this is contained in the actual report, not just the overview here, but down. Why was it down? My read on that situation is that there was a number of things that led to the need being reduced this year. One was, you may have heard of the Feeding America, the weekly food delivery. If you call the food pantries, they're overwhelmed with food donations. The community at large has been very giving, very charitable through the 2020 year. Everybody's trying to do their part. It's very heartening if you think about it. And the broader community is meeting many of these needs. In conjunction with that, federal relief. Stimulus packages, including moratoriums on paying rent. So whenever those bills are due, and those bills are just rolling forward, they're not forgiven, they're not going to not come due. Whenever they do come due, we're going to see a big increase in this, because housing in Waupaca County happens to be one of the largest expenditures out of this fund that we see historically. Okay, the next slide. Now that one is one of our videos that we did produce. I was hoping that maybe we could click on that, and that will bounce up to our YouTube page.
My name's Jason Fifield, U.S. Air Force, retired. Joined in December of '97, prior to September 11th. So when I joined, it was more for the service of the country, not so much because we were at war. When I first started out my career, I was a 2W1, which is the aircraft armament systems. I loaded everything from big nuclear weapons to little practice bombs, worked on bombers, fighters, helicopters. And my 15 special mission aviator. I was a flight engineer on the Cuba up in North Dakota. On rescue right before I retired there. With my bomb loading career, I went to Germany, Korea twice, Lithuania, and deployed to Afghanistan twice in '03 and in 2011, and Iraq once in '09. Two of those deployments were with a rescue unit out of Mundy Air Force Base. The other was out of the 81st from Spangdahlem Air Base in Germany. We got rocket attacks quite frequently as they happen in Afghanistan and Iraq. Went to Israel and did a lot of cool things there. Trained with the Israeli Air Force. I started working with the Waupaca Veterans Office December, January of 2017.
Does not work. What is that? Jesse Cuff presentation, but the sound doesn't work. Tried to order a gift card for Linda for her birthday. My card was ready. Another hay after that.
That way, got the ball rolling with getting my disability claims done. Also got me in touch with a counselor, Gunny. He was great, somebody that I could talk to and open up to, relate to. He could relate back. We could swap war stories and shake our fists at the world and what we wanted and what we thought should be. If there's anybody out there that's questioning whether or not they should do it, whether they deserve it, whether you did 4 years, 6 years, 20-something years, definitely seek out the knowledge. As military members, we were always seeking knowledge of what was right, what was wrong. At the least, find out what you're entitled to. You probably don't know everything. I know I didn't. But you earn the benefits. Might as well take part of it because you suffered mentally, physically, emotionally. Seek out the help to get it back.
Thank you, Joe. So a brief testimonial video we released in support of encouraging our veterans to seek the services of our office. Great story that Jason was very kind to share kind of his words of encouragement to other veterans. And I think that ending part is probably the most important part, is just improving the quality of your life. And that could be something as simple as hearing, whether that's getting folks connected with the Veterans Health Administration and getting them their hearing tests and their hearing aids and things of that nature to improve the quality of their life. So great thanks goes out to Jason for having the courage to work with our office and share his personal testimony that way. So in conclusion, I got one slide left there, a big thank you to everybody for taking the time again today and making the time for me to share some information about our office. I like the last slide to be a nice collage of some of the things that we were involved in this year in 2020. Even though it was difficult and there's some masks going on there.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's not letting me out of this.
She wants to go on vacation, I see.
Yeah, it's just not letting me out.
Driving around New York.
Let me go back and see if it'll just let me just X out of it.
Well, technology, that's the way it goes sometimes. But you'll have that packet digitally, and of course, we were very blessed this year to have a great connection with the Marine Corps League of Central Wisconsin. And Raleigh Johnson delivered a big delivery of food for our veterans in need over the holiday season. We, of course, participated with the VFW Post here in Waupaca for their Memorial Day ceremony early in the year. The Department of Workforce Development dropped off a great donation of gas cards. We were able to link those up with the food donations to help give some support and relief throughout the holidays as well. And of course, Waupaca County Sheriff's Office does a fantastic job of working with the veteran community that they employ, and was honored to be invited over to share in the celebration of Veterans Day and recognizing all the veterans who are also corrections and reserve or corrections deputies and patrol deputies as well. So
I think I have it.
there we go.
Sorry.
So that concludes the formal aspect of the report. If anybody has any questions, Chair?
Questions?
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Nygaard.
Thank you, Jesse. You're doing a good job. I was just wondering if you had any idea what's going on with the homeless vet program out in King. I know it's a little outside your area.
Thank you. Yeah. To my knowledge, it's not coming back. That was a 20-year running program. That was a grant per diem program that the state of Wisconsin was granted from the federal side to run that program. It ran for 20 years and was fully funded. And then they did a big reset. The federal government said, we're going to take a look at this homeless problem thing. And I think they probably had good intentions. I think unfortunately what happened was it was an adverse, unintended, disparate impact on the rural communities. I think the population centers saw an increase and the rural saw a bit of a decrease. So sadly, I think that one's gone, unfortunately.
Question.
Yes, Supervisor Gray.
Where is Jason's helicopter located? So
Yes.
if we wanted to drive by, we could see it.
That's actually the question. That's a very good question. Not Jason's helicopter, but that's actually the helicopter, and there's a tank there as well. That's at the VFW post here in Waupaca. So if you go out on Royalton here and head toward New London, you'll take a left on the commercial. It's by the industrial park, by industrial drive, by East Side Auto Body. It used to be the whole buyers guy. Now the foundry bought that. Just go all the way down to the end there, and you'll be able to see the helicopter, a torpedo from a submarine, and then also a tank.
I've never had an occasion to go down there.
I got a wild email. Never followed up with it. I followed it. I passed it on to the VFW, but that helicopter, the serial numbers match, and this was a true story. Individual reached out because all those are tracked. The VFW doesn't own that. That's on loan from the DOD, and they have all that tracked. And the pilot who piloted that helicopter in Vietnam actually reached out to the post to see if they could reconnect and reunite. That helicopter flew many missions, and I think it was involved in some action, including, I believe, a hard landing, and where that pilot was involved. So it's got a rich history, great piece of history.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else for Jesse? Hey, thanks a lot. Great report.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Mike Mazemke's here. We're going to tell us about the Register of Deeds.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
In your packet, and then I also handed out a few of these.
are the numbers from our office. I guess just wanted to kind of highlight a couple things. The document totals, deed and transfer totals, lower right-hand corner shows that there was $754,000 of transfer fees that were taken in by our office. That number is the biggest in the history of this office, the Register of Deeds office. And that figure represents about a little over $250 million worth of real estate sold in 2020. That's up 30 million over 2019. So real estate is truly going crazy in Waupaca County, and we like that. So our office also works very closely with vital records. I put those numbers in there. Obviously, if you're doing the real ID, you'll know why you need your certified copy of your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, some of those items. So we did not close. Our office has been open continuously. It's interesting because a couple courthouses have been forced to close. So I do get visitors from Shawano County, out of Gaming County. They want their record, they want it done, they want to get moving on. So we've been happy to help out other counties as well. Knock on wood, let's continue to say that we're healthy in our office. So I'm not going to go through many more of these numbers, but I do have a video, and thanks to our clerk, Jill. She is our person who is going to be helping me out with this video. This is going to tell you a little bit about what our office does. I know there's some new faces here. This is far more inclusive than what I would go into detail on, but it's a great video that our association worked with a small company that kind of did this for us, and I think you'll find it very informative, and I can answer questions when we're done with the video.
Hello, and welcome to the Register of Deeds office. And let me show you around.
Property ownership is the foundation of wealth in our country and the foundation of the real estate industry. Register of Deeds offices hold the key that unlocks the history of each parcel of land by maintaining the official public property records. Property records prove ownership in a chain of title, describe legal boundaries, and provide information on easements, covenants, restrictions, and liens on property. Register of Deeds are statutorily charged with permanently managing, protecting, and providing access to the important documents of your family's lives. Wisconsin is a raised notice state. The time a transaction is recorded becomes an important element in rights and relationships and helps you determine a clear title and ownership of your property. The critical importance of these public records becomes apparent in times of disaster, when homeowners need to prove they own their homes in order to receive government aid or borrow money to rebuild.
In the territory that was to become Wisconsin, the first law establishing a county office of records was passed in 1795. The first two counties were established in 1818, while Wisconsin was still considered part of the Michigan Territory. In 1836, the Register of Deeds was established. On May 29, 1848, Wisconsin became the 30th state admitted to the Union. At that time, 28 counties had been established, and today we have 72 counties in the state. In 1848, the Wisconsin Constitution established the Register of Deeds as a constitutional office. Present day in the state of Wisconsin, registers are elected county officials with 4-year terms. The system maintained by the Register of Deeds was put in place to ensure the rights of persons who first made claims to property, and that still holds true today.
The Register of Deeds maintains a permanent record of documents such as deeds, mortgages, liens on real property, releases, and satisfactions. We also have subdivision, condominium, cemetery, transportation plans, and certified survey maps. These maps define the boundaries of a property by dividing land into lots and blocks or units. We also record and keep military discharges, more commonly known as DD-214s, for our veterans. If you are a veteran or know someone who is, please remind them to record their DD-214 in our office for permanent preservation and ease of access.
The Register of Deeds office issues vital records for events that occurred in Wisconsin. On November 1st, 1907, it became mandatory that all vital records be filed at the State Vital Records Office. Wisconsin began electronically creating birth records in 2011, death records in 2013, marriage records in 2015, and divorce records in 2016. The new electronic system has given the Register of Deeds offices the ability to print Wisconsin birth and marriage certificates from October 1st, 1907 to present in any county Register of Deeds office. Death and divorce certificates have limited statewide issuance at this time. Please contact your local Register of Deeds office to see what death and divorce records are available to you locally.
All recording and vital record fees are set by state statute. In 2010, the Register of Deeds Association spearheaded legislation to enact a standard recording fee. This predictable flat fee has helped to reduce rejections for incorrect payments. With each document that is recorded, a portion of the recording fee goes to the county's land information program to modernize their land programs. A portion goes to the state land information program, which in turn grants monies to the counties for land-related programs, and the remaining funds go to the county's general fund. Wisconsin charges a real estate transfer tax for conveyances of real property. Of the fees collected, 80% goes to the Department of Revenue and 20% is deposited to the county's general fund. Vital records also have a flat fee. Each vital record sold has funds split between the State Department of Administration to maintain their vital records programs and the county's general fund. In addition, a portion of each birth certificate sold goes to the Children's Trust Fund, which is committed to the children across Wisconsin.
Land records are considered public records and are openly available for the public, either in the office or via remote access. Some documents are protected by court order or lawful administrative protocol. Documents such as military discharges are not openly accessible to the public. Vital records are not accessible online, but are viewable in the office in accordance with state statutes. Previous document storage included handwritten paper in bound books and microfilm. Modern technology has increased the efficiency within our offices, allowing documents to be scanned and digitized. Documents can now be searched and retrieved in seconds for viewing and printing. Although every document may not be digitized, we are continually enhancing the digital indexes by including additional documents through conversion projects.
E-recording has greatly increased the efficiency of the Register of Deeds office by allowing documents to be electronically recorded within minutes or hours versus days. E-recording provides a standardized method for tracking the progress of documents throughout the recording process, and it decreases the time it takes to correct mistakes that periodically occur. E-recording also reduces trips to and from the registrar's office and decreases mailing costs for all parties. E-recording is safe, accurate, and efficient option that helps businesses with faster closing times for buyers and sellers.
The Wisconsin Register of Deeds Association was founded on June 4th, 1918. The purpose of the organization is to ensure that each Register of Deeds in the state of Wisconsin remains educated on all aspects of recording law and standardized procedures. The association works with state legislators to ensure that the integrity of the land recording and vital records are maintained to the highest degree. The continuing education of the registers and staff by the association ensure that the citizens of each county are always served in an efficient and courteous manner. Our offices are committed to the public, dedicated to the highest standards of performance, and do their best to create solutions that are effective and beneficial to all. The Wisconsin Register of Deeds Association, the tradition of yesterday and the vision of tomorrow. For more information, go to www.wrdaonline.org.
Oops, I'm sorry, I stopped it a little early on you.
Quick story about the gentleman that started that off and ended there. That's Joel Bull from Lafayette County. And I started as Register of Deeds in 2007 and happened to meet Joel right off the bat. And I believe there's a movie, Public Enemies, and a portion of that movie was taped in his courthouse, and he got to be one of the jurors and got to meet Johnny Depp. And it's just a great story that Joel has. And kind of getting away from our subject here, but obviously that's a nice overview of what our office does. Some of the things I questioned when I got in was obviously the DD 214s. I guess I had no idea that we took care of military discharges. I work very closely with Jesse's office and his staff. We're forever providing death certificates. We've also worked on digitizing our DD 214s, so they're not coming down from the 3rd floor to get records down in our office. It's worked out pretty well. We have a nice memorandum of understanding that we can issue those, they can issue those things upstairs so that their veterans aren't kind of going up and down the stairs to get records. So we also work very closely, obviously, with the Treasurer's Department. Our records kind of go right over to property listing. So again, we work with a lot of different entities, the department, Casey's department with the Highway Department. We're forever working with them too, making sure documents get recorded timely. So it's been a great role for me. I started in the office in 2007 and very happy to be elected to that office and serve the county and you folks as well. So if there's any questions, I certainly can take them now. Feel free to stop by. Some of you have, help look for certain documents. Sometimes looking for some of the old stuff isn't as easy as you would think.
I have a question, Mike. If I want to go searching for some death certificates from years back, is this a big problem?
We would let you in to do some genealogy. There's some things that are available and not available on records. Cause of death is something that you can't readily see unless the record is over 50 years old.
Sure.
So there is some things that are available, not available. We get questioned quite often about vital records. Vital records are not public records. It's not just something you can look at. Every so often we'll have somebody who is calling in to say, hey, I think my former spouse got married. I'd like to know that. Well, that's just not public record. There's always some interesting things that get asked of those records, but there is a way of searching some of that stuff with genealogy. Again, we would ask, we would have you fill out some information so that we know what you're kind of looking for. One, so we can assist you. Two, so that we're making sure that you're following the statutes.
And just a comment, I don't want to embarrass you, but been here in office since 2007. I can remember when you ran for office and was elected. And I asked you a week later, how's it going, Mike? Oh, boy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this. I knew you could. And here you are. You really sent you've got a model operation for registered deed officers. What a great job. So.
Yeah, and I am a working register. Our office started off with 4 employees. We are at 3 employees. I always said that hopefully if and when I need that 4th employee, I'd come back to you. So far, knock on wood. We've been managing. I also, I know Jesse recognized his staff. Between Stephanie and Lisa in my office, we have a great staff. They've been there as long as I have. So it's nice to have people that are trained and knowledgeable. And every day comes more knowledge, obviously. And just as soon as you think you've seen it all, something else kind of rears its head, and we deal with things on a daily basis. So it's been a great ride for me. So I appreciate that. And as I mentioned, sometimes searching for old records can be a real challenge. So sometimes we leave that stuff to title companies. That's their business, and if we can help, I'm always happy to help. So, any other questions?
Thank you much. On my reports, of course, it will be very short. I had our supervisor tell me, gosh, with your report, I'm sick and tired of hearing you. You're laughing at me.
Sorry.
Really, I come to you, all of us, want to give the heartfelt sympathy to a couple of sad items. As you probably heard, Chris and Andy Carlin, Chris's father that passed away a few weeks ago. And that was so sad. I read his obituary many times, and what a great guy he did, and very active. And also, a very sad note, Sandy and Tim Will's son, who passed away about a week ago or a week and a half ago in the Sheboygan area. And I think he was 35 or 36. Really sad news. So on behalf of the county board and myself, our heartfelt sympathy to those families. On a happier note, on my phone this morning, it said 5 years ago today, and a photo came up, and it showed a photo of the Dursley family. Some of you were here then. I had them at our county board meeting and wanted to hear what Mike had to say, and Don had to hear to say, and not Jeremy, but Justin. And of course, Mike gave a little talk about the World Series win and all that type of stuff, and signed a lot of autographs. And his son Justin talked a little bit. I think he was just beginning his managing career in the minors. But the old man, Don, wouldn't come forth and say anything. Unfortunately, Don passed away this year. A good friend of mine for many, many years. I played for him, the Clifton Lays. He was a tough nut to play for. He was a Lombardi. He could never do anything right, and it was always never good enough. But you know what? He made ball players out of a few people. I'm not saying he made one out of me, but he had a very successful coaching career. A lot of them left. They couldn't take it, but that was Don Dursley. He demanded excellence. So anyhow, today I said Don was passed away, and Mike is no longer on baselines coaching with the Kansas City Royals. They had him scheduled, if the season would have started sooner, to be a scout, major league scout, going from ballpark to ballpark, grading the players that the KC might be interested in trading for. Somebody had to sit through a couple games, grade them with a radar gun, check the pitcher's speed, and that type of thing. Well, that didn't happen. He hated the idea of doing that. He said, I don't want to sit in the stands and watch a game and grade. And I said, guess what? You get to carry a gun. You got a radar gun. But he said, I belong in a dugout. So, but that didn't happen because he didn't have to report. The scouts weren't used in that short season. So, and Justin finished a very successful career. He didn't finish his career, but he was a manager in high A ball for the White Sox, highly regarded. I think he was only 28 or 29 at the time. And this coming year, he was promoted to double A ball for the White Sox. And there's a big story in the paper down there saying he could be the future manager of the White Sox. He's so highly regarded in the system. He's a constant worker, constant great attitude. And so he's on his way up. And well, Mike is kind of getting out. He's in his 60s already. And so that's the story of the Dursleys. And everybody's doing fine, but they want to get back to baseball soon here, which is about a month away. Spring training starts, hopefully. With that being said, that's all I have to report. We have announcements. This is the WCDC monthly report. And next thing is adjournment. A motion by Mr. Dawes to adjourn, and a second by Mr. Wongolski. We are adjourned.